Spam or spam? Which bothers you more? Do you hate meat in a can more than you hate getting emails that you don't want to read? How to be tolerant of bad meat or bad mail? Today on the Carefree Cook's Code. I'm Chef Todd Moore, and this is the Carefree Cook's Code, every Tuesday live at noon Eastern. Here's our challenge. How can home cooks cook freely with creativity, confidence, and pride while ignoring recipes and still impressing themselves and others with what they cook? Well, the answer is found in becoming empowered with how cooking works, using dependable and repeatable methods of cooking that work for any ingredient, for any diet, and any desire, just like chefs do. And we'll know we've cracked it when everyone sees cooking as an exciting and rewarding way to improve their relationships, their lifestyles, and their health through better food and cooking. This is the Carefree Cook's Code. Hey, welcome back to the Carefree Cook's Code, everyone. This is the weekly show for the methods, the techniques, the insights into better food and cooking. Of course, we're live every Tuesday at noon Eastern, and if you want to look for some past episodes, go to the video archive on Facebook, facebook.com/chef.todd.more/videos. There's the schedule. We're together Tuesdays at noon and Thursdays at 6 p.m. for some outdoor casual cooking. You can see what I'm cooking when we're not live together once I start posting photos back on Instagram at instagram.com/chef.toddmore. I think the last thing I did on there was strawberry syrup. Maybe you should go check that out. But how do I do all this? Well, I'm a carefree cook. I create my own recipes, you see. What happens when I do that? Well, friends and family come a-running. I learn every time I cook. I create my own cooking style, and it's all because I practice pro methods, and I really love my cooking. Hey, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the northern neck of Virginia and Moore Publishing headquarters here. Where all the magic happens. I'm so glad so glad we're together again with the new mouth on a Tuesday, live at noon Eastern, so we could talk about stuff and gain a new perspective on food and cooking. You know, it's not just all about stand and stir. Everybody just wants me to cook. Just cook something. And sometimes it's the theories, it's the insights behind why you're doing things that are the greatest inspiration. I've seen it with culinary college students. I've seen it with adults. I've seen it with children. When you explain the hows and whys, they get to do it better. Don't just show them what to do. Here, stir this way. Here, you do it. No, not that way, this way. No, not that way. Explain why. So we get together to expand our minds on Tuesday. It's more than stand and stir. We get together to consider things that we may not have before. And I'll tell you what, in doing so, perhaps we do improve our lifestyles through better food and cooking. But before I get to all that, I've got a what am I for you today. Tell me in the comments section below. Okay, this is a weird one. It is, there's a pig, obviously. And it's a head scratcher, right? There's a pig. There's some salt shaker. That's potato starch, by the way. Sugar, and the chemical thing is sodium nitrate, which is a common preservative. So what you're looking at is pork, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrate. Tell me in the comments section, what am I? All right, look, if you've been with me for more than a year, I know a lot of people have joined us in the past year when cooking at home has really become very, very important. But if you remember some of the videos I did in 2008 or 2009, or 2011, 13, 2017, 2019. If you're familiar with any of the videos of those years, you'll know that my favorite place on earth is Hawaii. Okay, so Heather and I have been to Hawaii 7 times. And each time we visit, I learn even more about the farmers, the ranchers, the chefs, the culture. To me, the best food on the planet. Right? This is why I go there so much, is to check out the best food on the planet. And, you know, I feel badly about not traveling. I don't know when I'm going to get back to Hawaii, but I do reminisce a little bit because back in October of 2019, the last time I was there, I was way up a volcano. hundreds and hundreds of feet up a volcano in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the ocean, 1,800 miles from the nearest continent, because I went there to get a new perspective on food and cooking. How often do you kind of make a retreat and get a perspective? How often do you consider something that you thought was false or wrong or bad and look at it again? But look, I don't love Hawaii just for the obvious reasons, the weather and the water and the outdoors. I've been going back there for more than 20 years. I love Hawaii because it's the greatest food melting pot on the planet. This is where my food gurus reside. These are the people I ask questions of when I get stuck. It's my holistic retreat for culinary recharging. It's when Western, bland, and boring, when I have too much of that and I need some detox, I go to Hawaii and I learn so much every time I visit Kauai, Maui, Oahu, or the Big Island. There are things that I never would have thought of without somebody introducing a new perspective to me, right? This is so important, to be open to new perspectives. And then I take them and I try and bring them to you. That's the whole idea. I see myself as the person that offers new perspectives. Now, I could go into the fact that cooking has been taught all wrong for decades and decades, but I'm not going to get on that soapbox today. What you do with a new concept that's put in front of you is entirely up to you, because some people just gobble it up. Some people take new ideas and gather them, and they're inspired by them, and they're motivated by them. One of the old ideas that always gets in my face when I'm in Hawaii is Spam. Hawaiians love Spam, the canned meat. And for the longest time, I believed all the bad press. I believe all the myths that this canned meat has gotten over the years. It has been the butt. It has been the butt of many jokes. Pork, get it? The butt. That would go over huge at the chef's convention, I guess. But look, the reason that Hawaiians love Spam so much is that the Hormel Corporation, the manufacturers of Spam, they sent 15 million cans to Allied troops every week during World War II. And about 6 million cans of Spam are eaten each year in Hawaii. That's about 5 cans per person. So much so in Hawaii that they have to put purchase limits in some stores, just 5 cans per person. Otherwise, the stores run into constant shortages. Spam is a delicacy in Hawaii. With all the fresh fish, with all the fresh produce and the farms and the upcountry and the goat farms and all the ranchers and stuff that I've talked to, they love the stuff in a can. And I know you're crinkling your nose right now, right? You're like, oh my God, why do they love Spam? But that's my point. Okay, admit it. You know nothing about Spam. And you're immediately offended that I even brought it up. You've never had it, and you're offended by it. How many of you? I'm betting 75% of you haven't tried it, but you think it's terrible, right? Well, Spam is a processed meat, like so many that you already eat. And Spam only has 6 ingredients: pork, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrate, a common preservative. All right, spoiler. Look, if you eat bacon, if you eat sausage, if you buy deli meats, you're eating the same thing as Spam, and maybe even worse. Oscar Mayer might not be as good as Spam, but before you turn your nose up at what's a delicacy in Hawaii, before you dismiss it immediately, perhaps you should consider your preconceived attitudes about other food items. There's a bigger message here. You didn't think I was just going to do a whole commercial about Spam, did you? No, this is about opening your mind. And I'll be honest with you, all the times that I went to Hawaii, I've never tried it either. 7 trips to Hawaii over 25 years, I've never eaten Spam because I'm sure that I won't like it. So I don't even try it. Spam I am not, right? So you'll probably say that you don't like it either, but you'll probably admit that you never tried it either. So I'm with you. I get it. All right. So now that you're a carefree cook, now that you're following our movement and you're confident in the methods of cooking so that you can create original meals for any diet or desire, I want you to ask yourself something. All right? I want you to ask yourself, are there any foods that you think you don't like, but you're not sure why? Do you have a spam? Right? Maybe it's not exactly spam, but do you have a spam food? Something that you're prejudging without ever trying. Something you hated as a kid, but you're not a kid anymore. Maybe you now have a new way to cook it. Maybe there's a new way to examine some of this. Don't hold on to your food prejudices. Maybe you didn't like tomatoes as a kid because mom didn't cook them very well. Sure, mom, it's true, okay? There are things that mom didn't cook well. It needn't be sacrosanct, okay? So if you didn't like something because mom cooked it terribly, maybe today you can cook it in a different way. There are those that are open to new ideas. There are those that are open to new concepts. There are those that are open to new perspectives on an old item that they rediscover, reimagine, rework. And you know what? They happen to be some of the happiest and most creative people. What if you went back to all the things that you hate? What if you went back to all the things that you think that you hate and gave them another try? You could double or triple your culinary repertoire, your culinary vocabulary. But there are other people that find new ideas intrusive and bothersome. Do you know anybody like this? Disagree with them? Try and correct them? Try and give them a new idea? Try and point them in a direction that might actually be beneficial to them, and they tell you to bug off? How dare you tell me what to do? How dare you tell me I'm wrong? Right? These are people that don't want to hear it no regardless, okay? So any message sent to them that they disagree with, without even thinking about it, not having considered it or tried it, just like spam, the message is spam. Spam! You said something to me that I didn't really want to hear. So it's spam. That guy is spamming me. He's telling me stuff that I really don't want to know. And the problem is not that it's spam. It's not spam just because you disagree with it. A food is not spam just because you think you're not going to like it, because the definition of spam in an internet sense is an unsolicited message. An unsolicited message sent in bulk to your mail. And people, sometimes they yell spam at me. Can you believe it? At me. They're yelling spam. But let me first say, rarely. Okay, it is a very small percentage of the people I interact with every day that write spam on something. Meat or mail, okay? Very few complain about the Hawaiian canned meat to me from the Hormel Corporation. But, you know, it's the great majority of my fans, followers, students, subscribers, the carefree cooks, the great majority are fantastic, curious, inquisitive, polite, and encouraging people. It's just not 100%, right? It's just not the 100% that I would like. So if you subscribe to a newsletter or a blog, or you follow my Chef Todd Moore page, but you disagree with something I've said, you can't call it spam. You asked to be involved in those messages. So if you sit and enjoy 30 to 50 minutes of free cooking classes live on the internet, and then I present an opportunity, an offer for you at the end to explore the topic even deeper, which I sincerely believe is going to improve your life. If I make an offer for one of my online classes, you don't have to do it. You can take advantage of the offer, or you can just say no. But it's not spam after you've watched me for 30 minutes for free. If you see a paid advertisement on Facebook, it's not spam. You agreed to be on Facebook. You created a Facebook account just like you subscribed to a magazine or a newspaper. And then a paid advertiser then paid Facebook to get on your news feed or the newspaper or the magazine. But it's not spam because you subscribed. You asked for this interaction. So let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed the advertisements in magazines? Did you ask for those advertisements to be put in front of you? I mean, for goodness sake, you already paid for the magazine. How could they shove solicitations in front of you when you paid for it? It's spam. Spam, spam, spam. Isn't that spam? What if you're watching your favorite TV show and a commercial comes on? Did you ask for that commercial? No. So it must be spam, right? I subscribe to HBO. I pay a monthly fee for cable movies, and they still put commercials for their other shows in front of me. Spam! I'm telling you. But let me take this one step further, all right, and really get to the point and stop being silly about this. Let me relate it to your cooking at home, because that's who we are. We're a food and cooking community. How do you feel about a recipe that tells you to use a certain brand of product? Use 1 can of Campbell's soup. Use Philadelphia cream cheese. Use Kraft American cheese. I didn't ask for a commercial for Kraft Foods. I was asking for instruction on how to make mac and cheese or something. But I don't have to use Kraft cheese. I mean, isn't that what recipes are supposed to be? I mean, they're big liars to begin with, but aren't they supposed to at least be instruction? But then they try and sell you something right in the middle of the instruction. These are the kinds of recipes that I absolutely hate. And to be honest with you, that's spam. Yes, that's spam. Talk about unsolicited. Don't tell me what kind of cream cheese I have to use. I didn't ask for a cream cheese recommendation. I asked for a recipe. Heck, I might not even use cream cheese at all, you know? And that's my point today. You never have to be a victim of spam or spam ever in your life. Just ignore it. Just whistle past it. Enjoy your TV shows. Ignore the commercials. Flip the magazines. See all the great photos. But move past the sales part if it's not for you. Use recipes as a guideline for the dish that you want to create, but don't let them tell you any one certain ingredient, even if it's spam. Even if it's a spam recipe, right? Because then, if they tried to sell you spam in the middle of a spam recipe and you didn't really want that recipe, wouldn't that be a spam recipe? Huh? All right, nonetheless, my ultimate point here today is that you can't let anything bother you when you're creating it on your own. When you set the definitions of what is good and what is not, you can never be bothered by spam. If you think processed meats are terrible, it's spam. If you love meat in a blue can, then you love spam. If you hate seeing advertising messages, it's not spam if you signed on. But if you cook with the foods that you desire and it's a creative process and you're open to new ideas, you will never get spammed. If you ignore the messages that you don't like, but act on the ones that are honest and may benefit you, it could be the start of a creative process. And maybe you should be open to new ideas and consider which is worse, spam or spam, because they're both worse if you let your preconceived notions take control of you. That's the point. Break down some of these preconceived notions about foods that you don't eat, about things that you won't try, because one might be worse than the other, or who knows, maybe neither is worse, as if you see both of them, the meat and the message, as potentially a new idea, a new concept, a new inspiration that might lead to something else, because you don't need to be annoyed by new ideas. This is where happiness and creativity is found, behind the new ideas. Because in my mind, my curiosity, my desire to know the hows and whys, if it wasn't as wide open as it is, then I'd never have experienced some of the amazing worldwide food finds that I have over the years. If I went to Hawaii and sat down with master taro poi pounder Daniel Anthony, and was like, oh, I'm not going to eat that, I would never learn. any of these things. And I wouldn't be able to share them with you if I immediately thought that everything was spam without even trying it first. So open your mind. I might even go buy some Spam today. I might even go find a can somewhere and give it a shot now that I'm inspired to do so. I didn't get a chance to go through our Carefree Cooks community this week. I had a whole bunch of things going on. I'm working on a whole new course. I'll tease that again a little bit later. So I was able to take out a gallery of the foods that I ate when I was in Hawaii last October. Would you like to see them? Chef Todd's Hawaiian food finds, what I ate, because it made my mouth water as well. Okay, first thing you can find in Hawaii is mahi-mahi. A beautiful piece of fish. You'll see me eating a lot of fish. Mahi-mahi on colorful cabbage, carrot, and pepper slaw. Think about that. That's something you can do. Cabbage, carrot, and, julienne pepper slaw. It was served with a truffle beurre blanc. Web Cooking Classes members know how to make a beurre blanc. Lesson week 34, maybe something like that, with truffle oil, and crispy kale on the side. That was a really nice dish. One of my favorite things when I go to Hawaii, and these are things potentially for you to try, it's called lau lau. Lau lau is a tea leaf, same thing that they do barbecue or luau's in. It's this big kind of spongy, it's very moist. That's why they use it to cook a lot. But it's a tea leaf, T-I, not like steeping tea and drinking it. A tea leaf that they stuff with shrimp, scallops, fresh fish, bean sprouts, a whole bunch of shredded veggies. Then they steam it, and it's served with sushi rice on top of shredded nori, which is the seaweed that they do a sushi with. And it's like a little pocket. It's like a hot pocket of fish and vegetables steamed usually with like a soy sauce, a shoyu soy sauce. And oh my goodness, it's so good. Mouth watering. Oh my goodness, this one was sinful. Okay, this is a piece of ahi tuna, like sushi grade. An hour ago it was swimming. Tuna topped with crab meat and hollandaise sauce. All right, so an Oscar kind of thing with hollandaise sauce. It's served over roasted potatoes, roasted onion straws, and steamed asparagus. The sauce then drizzled over it, balsamic reduction. Okay, pick your tongue up off the floor. Good. I'll tell you what it is again. Ahi tuna, topped with crab meat and hollandaise sauce, over potatoes, onions, and asparagus with a balsamic reduction. Yeah, try that tonight. I can't imagine anybody going, ew, I won't try that. I'd rather have Spam. Here's the Maui upcountry steak. I eat a lot of fish in Hawaii, not a lot of steak, but you'd be surprised how good the beef is in Hawaii. This is a filet mignon, beef tenderloin, slice of the tenderloin that was cooked, right on the money, really tender and soft with these upcountry fingerling potatoes, steamed broccoli, and a single roasted carrot. I thought that was so interesting. Normally, you got to have a rule of 3. You got to have 3 or 5, but it was just this one carrot with the green attached. I thought it was a really nice presentation. It was a compound shallot butter, and they make their own steak sauce. Swallow again as my mouth is watering. Because when you are going to have a steak, the local upcountry Maui Cattle Company is really amazing. And I have an interview with my buddy Tweety that talked about how they treat the beef. It's so, to me, it's so much more interesting. I'm eating a steak, then I went and talked to the guy that was the rancher that raised it. I know so much more about this steak. It doesn't, it makes it more interesting, more delicious to me, for sure. The true culinary melting pot nature of Hawaii is in mixed plate. Anyone that knows Hawaiian food knows the ubiquitous nature of mixed plate. And this is the melting pot of Hawaii. It's a scoop rice, scoop mac salad, they say. Literally a scoop. Macaroni salad. Or sometimes you get potato salad. Skewered shrimp on this one, teriyaki chicken, and Kahlua pork. The idea behind the mixed plate was, and this is one of the reasons that I think Hawaii is such a tremendous melting pot of food, is because of the influx of Koreans and Japanese and Portuguese and Chinese and native Hawaiians that when they were working in sugarcane fields or any of the labor they were doing, they would all sit down, the story goes, to lunch, and the Korean guy would have his Korean barbecue, and everybody, the Hawaiian guy would have his kalua pork, and everyone would kind of share and change. Normally, it's not usually three things that you would put on a plate together, but the mixed plate really shows the melting pot nature of Hawaii. It's something that you really got to have. The best fish in Hawaii, the most expensive, I think, is opakapaka, Hawaiian pink snapper. Really soft, really meaty, tender and firm. What a beautiful plate, huh? Here it's grilled, put on a mushroom risotto with lemon and basil beurre blanc. That was quite a trip to Hawaii. It was really something. And, I got a lot more to tell you about my food travels. I have a lot more to tell you about the people that I meet who impress and inspire me enough to expand my thought process, broaden my horizons, and move my cooking forward. But it's not enough time to talk about that today. But I will tell you how you can see just a little bit more of my Hawaiian food travels in just a minute. But first, back to the what am I? I might have spilled it. I might have spoiler already. You might have guessed it. It's Spam. That's right. Only 6 ingredients in Spam. Those are the 6 ingredients. So look, instead of speaking of unwanted content, quite a segue, right? Why don't you go ahead and spam your friends and contacts by sharing this video with them right now, whether they want it or not. Go ahead and spam them. If you like it too, then maybe they won't call you a spammer after I. So nonetheless, look, my latest free online web class answers the question coming at me from all angles lately. How do you know what foods go together? That's right. That's the question. How do you know what foods go together? I am so confused. No, that is absolutely wrong. What you need to do is see why summer cooking is cool. That's right. You need to see your cooking change for the season. You don't wear a sweater to the pool party, and you don't bring beef stew either. So if you go to webcookingclasses.com/sun, you will be able to register for my free class. It's called Summer Cooking is Cool, and pick your available spots there. So until next Tuesday, where we take more steps toward breaking the Carefree Cooks Code, this is Chef Todd Moore reminding you that there's a method to your summer cooking success. Bye, everyone.